Hi, and welcome to Elden Ring with Mr. Friendship. We're gonna make sure we have our desktop audio on so you can hear Mr. Friendship and hear the game. And we don't know what we're doing yet because it's been a hot minute. Like, what, 2 weeks since we played?
At least.
So we're checking the guide. Where am I even? We are underground. Where are we underground? In the Great Waterfall Basin. That's funny that these... How come two of the Nocturne Eternal City, like, buildings are upside down, but then, like, the Hollowhorn grounds and those buildings are right side up on the map? Is there a hidden meeting?
Mm.
What level am I?
1.
Silly. Hi, you're here. Status, level 79. I got 40 vigor, 36 intelligence, and a bunch of other random things. Okay. Lead the way.
We're gonna go talk to Ronnie.
Oh, Ronnie. I know something about Ronnie. It's a spoiler. Where is Ronnie currently?
Back at her house.
That's on the top part of the map. So
Top
I gotta
map,
press
yeah,
this
it's at the
button.
very north.
Like, nope, not there. Ronnie's Rise. We're coming to see my favorite lady. My favorite witchy lady. Oh, she's got this cool place. I remember this place. I don't see Ronnie. Oh, we
We're
gotta
not
go.
up top yet.
Oh, see. How many levels does this place have?
All of them.
Oh yeah, and then we gotta go outside and up the outside stairs. Man, she really makes us work for this. I remember now. Hello? 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 Wait, you look weird.
It was thee, not
Hey.
blithe it seemeth. Even in my slumber I sensed it. It is in thy possession, is it not? The hidden treasure of Nokron. My thanks. Finally all the pieces are in place. Soon
She
must I
has 4
begin my
hands.
journey. Upon
You
the
just
dark
noticed that now?
path only
Yep.
I may
Yep.
tread.
She has 4 hands. She's always had 4 hands?
Yep.
But before
Interesting.
I leave, I must entrust thee with this. Take it.
Ooh. You don't have anything in your hand, lady.
My discarded flesh lieth beyond
Or
the
any
seal
one of your
unlocked
4
by thee,
hands, I should say.
upon which is carved the curse mark of thy desire. I can fathom what thy purpose might be. Neither of us is welcomed by the brighter path. I see. You may leave now. It was but brief, but thou gavest me fine service.
We're being dismissed?
What is it? Thy purpose in approaching me was to obtain the curse mark, was it not?
Oh, I just
You
like
may
you.
leave now.
I want to be
I
your
too
friend.
am to depart on a journey. Upon the dark path only I may tread.
Oh, so I'm not cool enough for you. Fine. Okay, what do we do now?
Oh,
Oh, there's my shadow.
I'm looking.
This game actually has a lot of detail if you pay attention. And not go over the books.
The guide says we were supposed to get curse mark of death.
Yeah, she said that's what you're here for and you got it. Now leave. That's what she told me.
Did we get the curse mark of death though?
I don't know, where would that be?
Oh, well,
Oh,
let's
that's not
see.
crafting. Not equipment. I want to go to my inventory. I have a carrying inverted statue.
Oh, maybe that was the guide saying we're going to get it.
Oh, could be. 'Cause I don't know what sorting I have, but I think
So
it's
we
what
give
most
the
recent at top.
blade to Ronnie. She'll reward you with the carrying inverted statue.
Yeah, that's what I got. It's key revealing the hidden
So
form of Carrion
apparently
Study
we have
Hall.
what?
It says that reveals the hidden form of Carrion Study Hall.
Okay. Yep, that's what this says we have to do next.
So where's
Let's
that?
go back to Carrion Study Hall where you get. There was a tall globe by the entrance.
I don't know where this place. Oh yeah, there's a trick. I almost forgot about it. What is the trick? You can search this map. Why? Yeah. Is it actually called that? Carrion something or other?
I think so.
Because if you press, are you on controller?
Nope, it's called Study Hall entrance. It's to the east.
Which is it? Which
I mean,
part?
not east. It's east of the lake.
Academy of Rhea, Lil and
Nope.
Caleb.
So if you look,
Don't tell me where. Tell me what the region is, because I'm looking at the list.
Sliarnia of the Lakes,
Okay, and that's called
Study Hall entrance.
Study hall entrance. Okay, I thought this would be faster, but maybe not. There's a lot of graces there. Study hall entrance. Ta-da! You totally could have told me faster. Okay, and we're looking for a big globe. This right here. What
Yeah,
do we
it's
do
right here.
here? Examine pedestal. Oh, cutscene. Yeah.
Cutscenes are usually a bad thing, aren't they?
No, it means we did something really important. Just ignore all that shaking. It's fine. And they're just so happy to have this back that they're jumping for joy and making the whole place shake. Can you see the cutscene? Because I only see me.
Yep.
Okay.
I only see you in the cutscene, but yes, I saw the cutscene.
Do we want to take the
Okay.
statue back now? Or
Go up. I don't know.
did it
Maybe
open
we go
something?
upstairs. Head to the
Whoa.
elevator shaft and enter the secret area through the
That's creepy over
smoke.
there. What is that?
That's where we're going.
Ah! What did I do? Okay. That's not my magic wand.
Oh, I remember this room, standing out here looking at it.
Oh! I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Oh, yuck. Oh, that was so creepy. Grim's like, what's the matter with you, Mom? I'm so dead because I have no idea. Oh my gosh, this is so
Watch out.
weird. Ah! Everything's upside down. I need to heal. Where's my healing flask?
Why are things upside down? Because we put on the inverted thing.
Oh, yeah. Yep. How did you get over there?
Walked?
Is that you? That's not you. That's a bad guy.
Oh, over there. That's
yeah.
Preceptor Marion, yeah. I should probably heal here.
Why you hurt me so much? I need to drink this. Oh, there's more of them thingies. Ew. Oh, why you gotta move so fast? But still, sir. So I can hit you with this giant. Okay.
I
Oh,
died.
you died. I'll be right here. Mostly because I have no idea how to get over there. And there's so many creepy things. I don't like them.
They're just hands.
They're just hands with a lot of creepy, growly. Ugh. I don't like it. They're like
Actually, I'm going to...
spidery hands. That's okay. Is this a bad guy?
Can I rest? Or are you gonna have problems because you have no life right now and you're where they spawn?
I'm fine.
Okay.
What did you... Oh, I see. Creepy.
Oh, sure. They're just sitting here behind you.
Yeah, they're just sitting here behind me. Okay. Okay. Show me how you got over there. Oh, ew. See, they're not just hands. Hands don't make webs.
The webs are from normal spiders.
Hello, Ceres. I hope you're having a good day. Do, 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 do. We do have to fight the ghosty man. Hey, hello. Lock on. Die, sir. Thank you very much. I want the shiny thing over there, but I don't want to die. Do you know how to get to it? Oh, walk very, very carefully.
Mask of Confidence.
Ooh, I need that in real life. Oh yeah, hey. I have a lantern. Then I can see. Look at me go.
Better than the helmet I have on? Probably not. No, not close. I'm thinking we need to go to the right here.
Okay. I'm gonna just hug the ceiling wall. Go away. Go away, you creepy things.
At least these are the small hands.
There's bigger ones.
Do you not remember we were at the one
Shh, 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 shh. I don't want to remember.
building that...
Hi, Cass. Welcome in. Oh, there's a ghost back here. You just skipped right over him.
There
Don't
was
worry,
one right
I'll
in front of
kill.
us, too.
Okay. We're trying to avoid the creepy spider hand creature things. I don't like them. Don't like them. Hi, Space. We got a lot of friendos in here now. Thanks for popping in, guys. Hope you're having a good Saturday. I finally had energy to play games again. I played Fortnite last night, and now I'm playing Elden Ring today. It's fantabulous.
Alright, ready?
Ready? Let me just go down. I landed on your head. Did you like it?
Yes.
Yeah. I was in watching his Sarah Barrow a little bit earlier, and I was playing Fortnite with them last night. Sarah Barrow and Jen and Slimes. It was good times. I hadn't played in so long I forgot which account I have for a login. Yes. Yeah, I think Fortnite is more to me about the people I play with, so I only play it if the stars align and I have the energy and other people I know are playing it at the same time. But it's no longer like a game I
boy.
play on my own. But I got this game, and then Mr. Friendship got me a dungeon crawler, so if I ever want to play that. And I've been thinking about trying Infinity Nikki or just going back to
Careful
Genshin.
jumping.
Okay,
Careful dropping down.
I will make it. Whoa! Now walk straight. Just walk in a straight line. It's not that hard. Can we go get the shiny?
Yep, that's what I was just looking to make sure there wasn't anything up here before I dropped down.
Why is Fortnite making you mad, Space? Are they doing dumb games? Ah! Thanks. Oh.
I
I
guess
don't
you're
know.
not getting the shiny.
Yeah, no.
It was just a glintstone firefly.
Okay. Well, that's not a big deal. But then how do I get back? How do I go where we
This
need to
is
go?
holy proof dried liver. Jeez,
Yay.
that was almost a bad fall. Oh, jeez. Camera, don't turn on me like that.
Okay, thanks for coming back by me. I have no idea how
Step
to
on the
get
button.
back to you.
Step on the
Yeah, it
button.
is. Can you hear them? That means I actually did something right. Step on the button. And hopefully you can hear the game too, if I have the volume up controlled properly. Yeah, it looks like maybe I could make it a little bit louder. You're still in the lower green zone. And my voice way up here. Okay. Yeah, and I think that I figured out the Discord layout too, so you can see when Mr. Friendship's talking. And it will say Large Nell, because he wanted to have fancy names for games. I don't think they scale up. Mr. Friendship
Did you get the cutscene with me opening the door?
Yeah, I'm seeing a big door opening.
Okay.
Kaz is wondering if the enemies scale up. Do you know?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
Other
either.
than each area has more stronger ones. And that scaling tends to go really fast. Like areas, if you're not ready for them,
Have we
can be
found this one before?
much harder.
New Grace! It's New Grace! Where's my motes? My Grace emotes? I have them, I think. Yep, Side of Grace. Hello? Are you actually working? No. Wait. Yeah, I can't. Cool. Space says hi. I tried to spam my Grace emotes, but I can't figure out how to do it on my... Oh, yeah, sure. I just have to hit the send button. There we go. There, I spammed my Grace emotes. Because we found a new Grace. Do you see those scullies there, or are those just for me?
These are rune fragments.
Oh, they're rune fragments. Okay, I guess I'll pick those up too. But they're not as good as monies in the skulls. Oh, hello.
What is that thing?
Oh no, it looks pretty tough. Let's see. How tough is it? Oh yeah, this is an enemy. I think
You're out of range.
I think I just saw Jen fight this. Oh, wait, this is a boss. This is a boss, and he's tough. And I don't have a lot of life and stuff because I didn't rest. Oh shit!
It's not a boss.
It's not a boss. Are you sure?
It might be like a mini boss.
Okay, mini boss. We'll call him that. Oh. Oh. This. I died. I have rest now. It's a good thing we just rested at a Side of Grace. Can I make you start the fight over?
It wouldn't start the fight over, I don't think.
Oh yeah, because it's a mini boss. Okay, I'm gonna rest. Boop.
What was that?
What was what?
Oh no, maybe I did restart the fight.
You said it wasn't gonna.
Oh, I didn't need to drink that.
It's magic resistant. Oh, then I have to keep my sword out. I'm not good at that. Okay. We'll do it. I could do it. Oh, let me get my runes first. I don't even know how many I had.
Oh, my timing is off on this guy.
Okay. That wasn't too many if I would have lost them. Okay. Here we go. Nope. got greedy. Should have done 1, 2 stabs and then run away. Okay. And then come back. This game teaches me patience, which I am not good at. Let's drink some health. Oh, he's almost dead. Yay.
I'm glad that was
Stabby,
just out of range.
Oh, nope. Stabby, stab, stab. Ha! I killed him. Good luck on catching the Pokemons.
There, now you got all of his outfit. You can make yourself look like him.
Ooh. Oh, where's that? Equipment. Equipment. Let's see. Mask of Confidence. Godskin Noble Hood. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then the fat clothes. And then where's his Max bracelets? Godskin Noble bracelets. Here, there. Ew! Ew! His little thing is all full of faces. Do you see this? Do you see me?
Yep.
It's all full of faces in the front. Goodness.
Are we going the right way? I don't remember anymore. I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this is the way we were headed. You got a horsey here? Okay. Dum, 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 dum. And so many rune fragments. I have no idea what those are for. I suppose I'll pick them up.
Making rainbow stones.
Oh, that's what they're for. I never use that. I'll just jump and see what happens. Or I just don't jump because I'm like, ooh, that looks far. What is, do I have a tailbone on the back of this thing?
I don't know. He had a tail.
Yeah. I got a tailbone, I think. Are you ready for me to step on the button?
No, not yet.
Okay. I'm gonna actually go see what this is over here.
Nothing.
Nothing. Rude. Shining coins. Is that from one of the other Dark Souls games? I've only ever played this one. You're going so high. Ooh. It's on the walls here. Looks like Ghostbusters when Slimer goes over things and he just leaves the goo everywhere. Oh, am I fat rolling? Did this make me too fat? It doesn't tell me on the screen. I gotta go... What do I gotta go? Inventory? Nope, I'm still medium load. Okay. Grace.
No rest here.
You wanna rest? Okay.
Yeah, there's no enemies here, so it's fine.
Princess
I mean, there
like
might
a
be more
red
up,
blood
but...
echo. Oh. I haven't even thought about which game I'm gonna play after this because I don't feel like I'm ever gonna finish this game because I leave it for weeks at a time. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that game exists. I should come back and play it some more. Shiny! Curse Mark of Death! We got the Curse Mark of Death. Oh yeah. This is, see this, where exactly where Jen is. I mean, not exactly, because I watched her do this last week, but we're doing the same stuff because she got this, and this is like, I remember, this is like a dead body of somebody that's, like, I don't know, I don't remember the lore, but they were talking about it, like Ronnie Ronnie's is this Ronnie's body? Somebody's body is dead and somebody else's soul is dead. Yeah, the open world is really intimidating unless you follow a guide, which is what Mr. Friendship keeps looking at for us. 'Cause he's so nice.
Going back to Ronnie's Rise.
Okay. That is done. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my Twitch stream manager on my phone, but it still says offline, and I realize now that it's not picking up anything because it keeps telling me that there's only one viewer, but more than one person is talking. Yes, depression wifey. With the 4 hands that I just noticed today. I never noticed she had 4 arms before. I don't know what I look at. Apparently it's not arms. Wait, she's not here.
Nope. But we got a new set of grace.
Oh. Yeah, because she said she was going on her own mission. We just came back to do the site of grace so we don't have to climb up this crazy path to get to her. That's fine for me. Now what? Now what? Now what? Now what? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Nope.
I don't think Mr. Friendship's ever gonna buy me a game to play together again. I'll just wander around behind him, complaining. Enjoy your lurk. Apparently I don't have that command set up anymore. Ooh, we're sneaky because there's wolfies. Wow. This they makes it hard for me to tell whether I'm up or down. Like, I thought I stood up. Oh, yeah, I guess I did. I like them chunky. I like them round.
That seems like it's a long way down.
Okay, we won't go that way then. I don't want to fall to my death. Ooh. Oh, here, I'll grab a Glintstone Firefly. Now I made up for that spot I didn't stop inside. That's awesome. Mr. Friendship was also very patient with me. Oh. Okay, let me ride my horse in here, but I probably shouldn't have. Ooh, there are so many things. Ooh, now I can be a perceptor. So people die and then we just come steal their clothes. Mm-hmm, cool. I think I like that outfit better. Let's go see. Trousers? Well, we don't need trousers. We go trouserless.
You're gonna make yourself look like Sylvius?
Yeah, sure, why not? Hello. Equipment. Receptors, big hat. And then I go, oh, back.
There's nothing up here. We already got it up here.
And the robes. And do they have traveler's gloves? Receptor's gloves. Winkle maiden shoes. I want to go barefoot. Barefoot and pantsless. Okay. I'm all dressed now. I'm ready to play. What am I examining? A finger maiden Theralina puppet. Why do things cost me money that are just laying on the ground? I don't understand. Who's gonna force
I
me to
don't
pay
know.
money? Excuse me. Who's here to force me to pay money? I'd like to know what are you gonna do about it if I just take it? Can't. The puppet is already yours. Oh, it's already mine. Additional items
Okay.
required. Oh.
And now we gotta go to the third tower, Rena's tower.
Ooh, there's a skull. This is actually a skull. I think I kind of remember this thing too, where we were going up a hill and then there's a tower to the left and a tower to the right and another tower to the left. Is that the place?
No.
No? Dang it. Sure that's not the place? This is where we are. Tower to the left, tower to the right, more towers. This looks just like the one we were in. Except it didn't have a dead body in it. Legs and feet for free.
Here you go, you can come change your costume again.
I don't know. Is it gonna be better than the one I have? Oh, yes. I need the other hat on for sure. That's... Okay, maybe I do have to change. I gotta put the dress on too. It looks weird with this robe. And then... I think I like these bracelets the best. They don't match. They're not part of this character, but that's okay. This is the episode where I change my clothes every 5 minutes. Is there anything up here?
There is, but we don't want to do it yet, I guess.
Okay. Oh, wow. When you're pantsless, go careful where you aim the camera.
Oh, we have to go back into Carrier Manor. But where in there?
Okay, this is custom. We ain't need pants on. Okay. Oh, no, don't drink that. We're trying to put some clothes on. I can't look at that. We need some trousers. Thank you. Okay, that's much better. Ooh, hoo, hoo.
In order to reach, you'll need to have completed the banner and gain access to the Three Sisters sub-region by
What
dropping
else?
down the cliff from Three Sisters. Okay, right there. So that's... Okay. Go down,
Oh, yeah.
down,
I
down,
like this combo.
down.
Oops. Doop, 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 doop. And then, let's see, are we safe to take this off now? Okay, we're safe. Did you go down here?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Where's my descend the ladder button? Hello? Hello? Ah, cool. Okay, I'm fine. I don't know
And
why it
that's
wouldn't let
one
me
way to
climb down the
descend.
ladder, but... Hello? Hello? My controller's gone weird. Wait, what is happening
Is your
here?
battery dead?
No, I'm just... Don't know. I don't know what happened. I can't describe it. But I'm here. I'm on my horse. I've got a witch's hat and a warrior's outfit and bare feet. I'm gonna win the fashion show. Don't jump over the ledge. Oh, hello, little guy. He's just a little guy. Oh, he just disappeared. Little guy disappeared. Oh, you took my horsey away.
Careful falling off here.
Careful falling off. Sounds ridiculous. Don't think those phrases should go together. Oh, we still gotta do more. Okay. Now let me climb the ladder. Thank you. Where's the... There, that's the fast way to go down. I remember now. Oh, shiny. Hello. Spellproof dried liver. Okay, well, I got that now too. So, didn't miss out on nothing. Why is everybody just staring at this dead body? Hello? Hello?
Did you not hear all of the noises and things?
No.
This guy's puppets turned against him.
Oh.
No. What was next?
I didn't hear that. But like, can they be my puppets now? Hello? Can I control you now?
Oh, right. We gotta go to Alexander.
What if I hit you with my sword? No, it won't let me. It doesn't want to let me hit you with my sword, I guess. Alexander the Big Pot?
Mm-hmm.
Where's he?
That's what I'm looking for.
Oh, okay.
We want to teleport to Artist's Shack, I think.
Artist Shack.
Which was over by Study Hall entrance.
Okay. Map. Okay. I don't actually know where that was because I looked at it on a list. Okay. Where is the map button? This is the map button, and then I do this button, and then I go over to Liurnia of the Lakes, and you said, what'd you say we're
On
going?
the East Coast,
Artist
where
Shack.
there's...
I got it.
Yep.
I got it. Eewee. Time to ride a horsey. Well, hello.
Do I want to fight the guy?
I don't think
Apparently we do.
Yes, we do. Ooh, lightning. Oh. Fancy and lightning sword.
You're supposed to drop your armor, dude. I want your armor.
Yeah, you want it to be golden like Adenorna. Or, I don't know how you say it, because I read it, and it's Gaelic. But the little golden dragon. You want to be the little golden dragon.
Yes, I can hear you, but where are you?
Oh, you know, maybe the problem is I
Oh, there he is.
turned my special effects. Special effects? Is that what it's called?
Hello?
Sound effects. I turned them
Can
down.
you hear me? Help me!
Oh,
I'm stuck. Hello?
he's stuck again?
Hello?
Yep.
Anyone?
Well, can you stop getting yourself stuck? Hello. I guess I gotta get on my horse and talk to you.
Ah, hello. As you can surmise, would you mind helping me out again? My thanks in advance. You know what to do. Give me a good smack from behind with something nice and big.
Yep.
Don't worry about my
We
wound,
know all
sustained at
about the
festival.
smacking the
I
behind.
don't think we have to
get a good
smack him.
thrust.
What?
Come on.
He says, come on.
Don't hit him. Don't.
What?
You're gonna break him. I think.
Uh-oh. But he told me to.
Yeah, and then he was also saying, "Oh, don't worry about my wounds. I'm good and healed." Do you believe him?
Oh. I see.
Come on. Give me a good
I'm gonna
He still
equip
keeps
my
telling me to
oil.
give him a good smack from the behind. He's just a glutton for punishment. He's a masochist. Hello, Shard Jar. What'd you hit him with?
Oil.
Oh. He's very dirty now. What do I have in my inventory? Probably nothing that.
No, it's still saying that he wants to be smacked though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do I have a good smacking weapon?
That's what I was wondering.
Maybe.
I think I got rid of all my other. Got a dagger, sword, and a Nox flowing hammer, but I can't use it. Did you get him out? Without
Yeah.
killing him? Good job.
My thanks to you and your razor-sharp wits. Oh. As a token of my thanks, I'd like you to have
I'm
this.
gonna put my arm right through you. Okay, thanks.
Dearie me, I'm oilier than a toad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now I know what it's like to be one of them.
Is that all?
Yes, indeed. I too have a home. Though it is one to which I have vowed not to return.
Oh.
So, I thought I might look out from atop the cliff. But as I drew closer and closer, pow, wouldn't you know it? I was perfectly stuck in that blasted hole.
Yeah, because weren't
I
we
can
in the
feel
battle
the
with him when he got all
warriors
beat
inside
up?
admonishing me for my mawkishness.
Mm-hmm.
To walk the path of champions, one cannot cleave to the past.
Oh yeah, that was where we
I'm
lost the
headed to the fiery
70,000
mountain to the
points.
north. I can strengthen myself
Yep,
there.
but then we got him
without
again
fear of cracking
later,
this
so.
vessel.
Like, much
I will
later,
forge
but...
myself anew in its flames.
Okay, one more time. Do you got anything else to tell
I'm
us?
headed to the fiery mount in the north.
Fiery
I can
Mountain in the
strengthen
north.
myself there without fear of cracking this vessel.
Oh.
I will forge myself anew in its flames.
Okay, good. Go get all patched
I'm
up.
headed to the. I can strengthen
Okay,
myself.
okay. I got it. That's all you have to say to me. I understand. So, what's next?
Okay, we gotta go back underground now. To
Soap.
where we started at the Great Waterfall Basin.
Oh dear, okay, now I'm all clean. Okay, mappy. Great Waterfall Basin. Mm-hmm. There we go. Where is that? I don't remember where we started. Oh, we have to go
So it's
underground.
the underground map,
Yep, I see it.
and then the lower
I
right-hand.
see it. I found it.
Okay.
I was also confused because I was multitasking while I was waiting for you to be ready. And I had to go break up the dogs, and then he came back and, like, all I heard was like there's white noise in my earbuds, and I'm like, what happened to the music on my starting soon screen? And then I was like, oh, my character is sitting next to a waterfall in the game. And that's water.
But do it.
I sure be doing it.
So we're looking for a coffin, apparently.
I'm looking for a coffin. Okay. Um,
Oh, jeez, there's so many guys in here. Are there guys out here too?
Ducus herb. Okay. Hi. I got the
Hi.
guys in here.
Okay.
Do you have any idea where this coffin might be?
I'm looking.
Okay, I'm gonna go over in this room to the left. Well, are they home? Yes. Yes. Ow. Jeez. Ooh, calling in. They're calling in. Hey, 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 hey. I can't see you, so that's not fair. Nope. Frostbite arrow me. Oh, why am I not wearing my lantern? Okay. I'll put that.
It's apparently back by the boss where we fought the gargoyles.
Frostbite arrow. How is that? Okay. Village the corpse. Spirit flame arrow. And a shield. What else? Anything else? No. Okay. I don't know where the boss was. Apparently somebody exists outside of our house and the dogs are crazy over it. Oh, nothing there. I lost you. I was rolling
I went up
around
the
in the
stairs.
furniture. Okay. Up the stairs. Hi.
It's apparently under this waterfall.
Oh, I see, I see. Ooh, there's Grace.
Yeah, this is the one we warped into.
Oh, really? We just went in a
Yeah.
circle? Is that what you're telling me?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I see a coffin.
Really? There it is. It was here the whole time. I'm gonna rest in the coffin? What?
Yep.
Okay. Weird, but okay.
What, you don't normally rest in coffins?
Yeah, not normally. Ooh, my controller's vibrating.
Because the coffin's closing. Can't rest in a coffin without closing it.
Of course. Oh, look at all those rooms. Oh, I'm flying. I'm flying in the coffin. Ooh. Where are we going? It's taking me right up to the top of the waterfall. And now what? What's for dinner? Mr. Friendship.
Watching cutscene. I want to make sure that something's not going to jump out and kill me.
Okay. Oh no, I saw a sight of grace. Oof. I'm getting hungry.
I mean, what's our normal supper?
Well, if I don't want it out.
Well, then we'll have to go get something else. Oh boy.
We
You
must
ready?
be headed for something serious. Hold on. I don't know if I'm ready. I have 5 of those and 5 of those and 1 of those. And can I call these guys? What is that? Okay. I think so. We'll give it a shot. What are we gonna fight? This is a real
Air tree
boss?
avatar.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's a beetle over here first. If we can sneak over.
You try.
Might be tricky.
I'm just gonna stay here. Okay, maybe since he turned around. Okay. Sneak. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
It's a giant ant. I don't care about the ant right now.
But what if the ant's gonna now come after us while we're...
Oh, the ant killed me. I guess I should have cared about the ant.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm just gonna hang out here. Wait for you to come back. Hopefully the ants will leave this area and not come in the middle of our Erd Tree fight. Erd Tree
Well,
avatar.
that means they're new. That means I'm going to rest here and get rid of my rot.
Okay.
Oh, but now I have to go past the ants to get my runes.
Oh yeah, you do. You do, because you died
Because
over
there were
there.
13,000 of them.
Oh, that's a few. I have 17,000.
Okay. I did not aggro the ants.
Good. Good.
But I did aggro the big boy.
Okay. Oh, yep. He's here. He's here. He's here and he's ready to fight. Nope. Oh yeah, why did I bring my boys up? Doing some magics. And shoot a big arrow. And
Can I get in front of him before he... Oh, I didn't get it.
oh, ouch.
And I died.
Okay, well. Alright, back away. And heal. Okay. Little guys. Hey, little guys. Just
Oh.
keep him
Sweet
distracted.
that we don't have to... Where are my runes?
This is so slow. Ah! Yeah. You focus on my guys. They're there to distract
Watch it.
you. You're about dead. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. You're gonna die! No! You were supposed to die right then. Come on. Yes!
Nice. 10,000 more.
Yay! Where's the sign of grace? I wanna level up. I think I can level up. Let's see.
But no, you probably can't.
No, I can't. Holy buckets. It's
But
so much.
let's go back over here and rest anyway because I have more rot I want to get rid of.
Okay, where? This way. Rest. Oh, but what do I have in my inventory? Maybe I can level up. I'm short
See,
by.
I need 43,000 total to level up.
I can't math. Let's see. 37, 28, have 28. I need 9,000. Okay, what do I got in my inventory? I got a bunch of the little baby ones. Those are good. 7,500 and 10,000. I just need to cash this one baby in. And now I can level up.
No.
Level up.
Fashion runes 2.
And then I
think I
will
can get
go
there.
intelligence. And then I should check it and see if I can do better magics. Yet. Okay, are there any of these? Oh, there's a spot right here. Lucidity. Maybe it's buildup of sleep and madness. Where does that even come from? These are all still... I'm still wimpy, too wimpy for these. Crystal release needs 41, 38. I already had this, so never mind. What did I just go to in intelligence? 27 maybe? I should have looked at that. I should pay attention to that. That's a faith. Girl, faith. I already had that on, so that's 29. I must have went up to 30. And that's a 38. 35. Wait, this one says 35 and I can do it. Did I just go to 36? Okay, so I need 2 more and I can get Shattering Crystal. Okay. Let me double check stats. Intelligence 37. Oh yeah, so I need to level up 1 more time. And then I can get 1 new spell. Okay. I need to do the next thing.
There's a shiny over here.
Who's shiny? Shiny. I can only see your name flickering, and I cannot see you.
Oh, that's
Oh.
fun.
Where?
Smithing stone 6. That's what I need, I think.
Oh shit! I fell down. I don't know.
Yeah, I can only see your name flickering, so that's fun.
We can't see each other.
Well, I'm going back to the site of grace then. I'm
Okay.
gonna rest and maybe it'll reset.
Oh, ow! Sorry, horsey. I didn't think that was gonna happen. Side of grace. Side of grace.
Yeah, it's over here. Can you see me yet?
I can see you. Can you see me?
Nope.
Okay.
Now I can.
Okay.
Should we go fight these ants?
Sure.
They hurt a lot, so don't let them hit you.
Okay.
And they like to charge.
I'm glad you warned me, because normally I like to let the enemy hit me, but, you know, because you told me not to.
Ow. That was half of my life gone in one hit. Ooh, that's 85% of my life gone in one smash.
Alright,
You're
do this,
invisible to me again now.
and go back to this guy.
No, run away. I'm going to die.
that rot?
Poison, I think. Based on the fact that I'm poisoned.
Okay. So why didn't you listen to your own advice? I didn't get hit once. Maybe because you don't have a far range weapon. Or I'm sure you probably do. You just never use it.
I don't know if I do or not.
You don't have like a crossbow or a regular bow or anything?
This doesn't seem like a way to go.
Mm-mm. It seems like a way to die, if you mean that way to go.
Looks like a lot of big flying bugs over there.
What? This way?
Be over there.
Hmm. Hmm. And now that you're in the horsey, you're going all flickery again.
Yeah, you are too. Do we have to go on these trees to get over? Platforming?
Yay! My favorite. Hi, Mealy. You on break? I'm too far away. Well,
Oh,
let's-
you're up there.
Yeah, you said go on the tree and
Yeah,
platform.
this is a lower tree.
Oh, yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm coming. Ooh! Ooh! Ah!
I think you died.
Yeah. I thought I could make it. Oh, yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna stay here. I don't want to do that anymore. Then I remember... Well, I only had like 900. Never mind. I'm staying here. I'm just gonna wait at the
Staying
grace
where?
for you.
But this is the way to go.
That's where we're going next?
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
I mean, if you don't jump off of the top of the ledge like you did. Over here.
Hi. Still platforming.
It's not so far.
Which way did you
I
go?
mean,
Which
as
way
long
did
as
you
you
go?
are careful fighting the wasps or
Oh, you want me to go down
giant
this way?
ants
Okay.
or whatever they are. There's ants over there with a shiny.
Oh yeah, but I gotta go back to the heckin' top to get my runes. Well, I don't
Oh,
need
were
to.
your runes up top?
Yeah, that's fine. No, never mind. I
Oh,
forgot. I didn't need to get them. I was gonna not get them in the first place, and then you said this is where we're going, and I still don't have to get them. Because I'll
narrow.
probably just die again anyways.
Oh, never mind. Don't go this way.
Why?
It's a dead end.
What do you mean it's a dead end? It looks like
It's
it
a
connects
giant
to those
cliff.
rocks over there.
No, it does not.
It does not?
No.
Okay, well, oh. That's not good. So maybe I was right? No, we were supposed to be in the higher ones?
Mm. Oh, that one over there, you see?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I don't see.
It's not this branch.
we walk past my ruins, I'm going to say I told you so. Actually, I'm gonna go get them, because I see them, and I
Okay.
can just turn around and come back. It's not as hard as I thought, as long as I don't try to get down. Because that is apparently not achievable. I'm gonna turn my camera around, and then turn my horsey around. Oh, you're good at turning around, horsey. In a very narrow space. Okay.
See me?
Yeah.
This is the one we're gonna go on next.
Okay. Take it slow and steady. It's right down the log.
And here's some platforming.
Told you it would be.
It's just a little jump
Just
onto a
little
skinny
jump.
branch.
Okay.
I think you would have been fine if you hadn't double jumped.
Probably. Okay. Here we go. Is this the right way? Wait. This way? Yeah. Yeah, this way. Okay. Wait. No, they're that way. Okay. I see it. I see which tree it is. It's this tree. Then I go this way. Nice and slowly. Stay on the trunk. Oh, oh, ah! I didn't even get the ruins. Burning cord was ban you. Thank you. Banned. Da 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 da. Hello, and up your horse. And then we go to this one. Okay. You find anything good over there yet?
Lots and lots of the flying ants. In a
Okay.
cave we can't get to, and there was a holy grease. But if you don't use grease, you don't have to try to get it. Because it's on the trees.
Oh,
Good job.
Third time's a charm. Are we gonna fight these guys or try to get around them?
Yes, there's shinies in the middle of them.
Okay. There's so many of them. Oh, I gotta recharge my magic. you. I say, no thank you. Can we get them all? Yay! Okay. Let's go collect all the shinies. Smithing stone 4. I thought there were a lot more than this. I'm only seeing 2. Am I blind? Oh, one more.
Or 3.
Warming stone. And a golden rune 6. Okay, that's nice. Yeah. Oh, refill the magic. Oh, man. This is me jerked at that one. The haptics, they get me. Oh, 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 oh. Where are you? There you are. Okay. That was all of them. Oh, I need some health. Some health potions. There we go. Much better. What are they guarding? Anything?
Doesn't look like it. I thought there would be.
Yeah, it seems like it, right? Should we go back? Continue down that path?
Goes to Glovewort 4. Yeah, you can come down this path. This is taking us the right same way.
I went back to where the ants were. Where did you go?
Okay, that's fine.
Oh,
No, come back this way.
oh, what's over there though?
That's a cave that I was trying to figure out how to get to.
Ah, yes.
That's why I thought these ants that were in that corner were leading to that cave, but
Oh,
no.
no. No, and it has a shiny in it, and also probably a bad guy.
Yeah, probably.
Do, do, do. Do, 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 do.
What's a fingers person? On the side of Grace. Do I need to rest at Grace?
Oh, you seem sad.
Oh, Lord Godwin. Such cruelty. Such humiliation. Oh, my poor sweet lordling should have died a true death. As the first of the demigods to die. As a martyr to destined death.
You're really dramatic, lady.
But why must it yet bring such disgrace? A scion of the Golden Bough, sentenced to live in death. How could such a thing come to be? Oh.
Okay. Are you just gonna keep moaning and whining? Okay, no. Don't tell me that whole thing again. Jeez Louise.
That's probably that boss over there
Oh,
that you were talking about. That golden looking guy on a horse.
yeah.
That's probably the cave over there.
Okay, well, we should rest then. If we're gonna go fight a boss.
Okay.
Rested up. Okay.
Three shinies back here. No.
No shinies.
Not that I saw.
Okay. There's something. Alright, map doesn't seem like a boss.
Nope. That also wasn't the guy on a horse.
Oh, okay. There's weird amphibians. You were probably fighting these guys that have
Yeah.
black smoke.
Oh, it's the map.
It's the map? Yay.
Yep.
Like poisoned or something.
I
Map
am
found. Yay.
not sure what that status effect is.
Yeah, it's golden shiny people. Are we still going after them?
Yeah, maybe they're not bosses. There's the guy on the horse over here, though. Do you want to fight that guy or the guy on the horse first?
I don't know. I don't see a guy on a horse.
He's over here.
Okay. This is kind of an interesting landscape. Oh, too far out. Oh,
Yeah, this isn't the boss at all. He's not that bad.
where's all the fire coming from? Oh, okay.
The guy that's over there.
Oh, I see. I see. Let's try some more potion. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I was gonna say, are we going to get him next? But there you are.
More headless knights. Oh, these are the guys that do Vanishing Act too.
Hey, thanks for the sub, Benny. How's your day been? Did you stay in Sarah Bear's stream for a little while? I think I'm gonna be streaming for 15 minutes, half an hour more. It's getting dark out. Oh yeah, you can still see me though. Okay. This is a new site of grace. New grace. Well, there's your not a pack for the Oh, when and where is your next PonyCon, if you don't mind telling me? How many PonyCons do you have for the year? Because I thought I only had 2 cons as a seller, in 2 cons as a guest, but I forgot I have one in Madison too. So I actually have 3 cons I'm selling at. I see. Doing the little lurky lurk and multiple streams. We love to see it. Love to see the support. I wish Twitch wasn't so picky about what counted though, because last I heard I think you can only count as a view in 2 streams at a time. Which, I mean, I could bounce back and forth between at least 3 people, if not 4. Next weekend. That's soon. That's exciting. My first one is one I'm selling at, and that's the end of February, beginning of March. So I've got a little bit, but I just finished making like a print list. So I will be printing like almost 200 3D prints, getting ready for it. 5, and then TwitchCon. TwitchCon's gonna be so cool. I still don't know if I'm actually going to the con, but I'm definitely going to San Diego during the con. I just don't know if I might do a 1-day ticket for the convention and then just hang out with people outside, like going out to dinner and parties or whatever. Are you looking at the guide, or are you waiting for me to stop talking?
Do you use sorceries or incantations?
You always ask me that. I think it's sorceries. Yeah, sorceries.
Okay.
Definitely
'Cause there was
100% sorceries.
Okay, because there was an incantation we left behind the other way, but
I don't need those. Because those usually need faith, which I am not building. Boop boop. Yeah.
so there's a building here somewhere that has an Ash of War we can get. Oh, we can go and active. If we go to the walking mausoleum that's nearby, all these soldiers without heads will disappear.
Oh. Well, I mean, they're not hard to fight, so I don't know that we need to do that.
No.
I think you should pick
But
one more thing to do, and then we'll end stream. And if Sarah Barra is still streaming, we'll go raid Sarah Barra.
Where does they want to go? There was an Ash of War over in a building here, but I don't really care about that.
Yeah, I never remember to go put the
Probably.
Ash of War on my weapons anyways. Oh, the puppies want to eat soon too, I bet. Oh, yep, one heard me.
Okay, so we have to go find the mausoleum anyway, because that's where the next person to fight is.
Okay.
Crucible Knight Siluria.
Crucible Knight?
But that's somewhere down here.
Okay.
Oh, there's the mausoleum.
Oh, I see it. There's so many of these little ghosty guys. Okay, maybe that's why it was like, oh yeah, just kill them all with William, and then they'll all go away. Yeah, that's what I've heard, Bunny. I don't know if that's been validated by Twitch or where it came from, but that's just what I've heard in Discord. Is that it's 2 per IP address. I don't know what I'm aiming at here. I don't see skulls. Do you see skulls?
Nope.
Where
That's
are
why
you?
I'm trying to... I'm getting
Ow.
lost.
I'm
I've got a golden rune
murdered. That's not gonna help me with my health. Okay.
Muslims way up there. I'm up on top of the mausoleum now.
You're on top? How did you do that? I'm just going in.
I went.
Go around
There's
hitting
the
the
trees
feet.
that are around it. This is where all the skulls are. Is up here.
Okay. So you're telling me, okay. Go up the tree.
Well,
hit
you
it.
can just wait. I'll get all these, and
Okay.
he'll.
So just chill. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just sit and chill. Twitch be twitching. They sure do come up with their own strange rules.
I think I got it.
Well, if it's true, yep, you got it. This guy just fell over on this way of attacking me.
Yep.
No.
All of the gold guys are gone now.
Woohoo!
I think there's. Because we don't actually use these, but there was. The guide said something about a stonework sword key somewhere around.
Yeah, because I forget. What do you do in these?
You
Remind me?
resurrect the bosses.
Oh, why do you resurrect the bosses? So you can fight them again and get more stuff? Or is there something else?
Yeah, basically.
Hello?
Yeah, nope, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, just so you know, this is what the skulls look like.
Yeah, I've seen them. I just thought they were always on the legs, and that's why I was
Oh,
confused.
yeah, they
'Cause I'm
usually
like,
are.
I don't see them. Well, how come it won't let me hit these?
I don't know, because it's probably dead already.
Okay. Where are we going?
So there's supposedly a
Yeah, I thought you said we were gonna fight something.
spirit spring somewhere. There's a shiny here too. Oh, there were golden runes over here.
Monies? Where? Oh! Eh!
Keep going
Creepy
past
toad
the
hand. I gotta kill the creepy
basilisk.
toad thing. Toad lizard. Squid thing. Now there's another one. Oh, never mind. I'm just gonna leave the guys alone. I'm just gonna run away. Okay. Where was I supposed to go? I'm so
It was
confused.
like just straight ahead of those guys. I think you went the right way.
No, oh, yep. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
8. Yes. Nice.
Yep. And then there was the other one over here somewhere.
Someone's coming to ask for you know what. Right, Graham.
Yeah.
I know what you want.
Oh, here's the other shiny.
We gotta get one more shiny. One more shiny. Then we'll do the thing that you want. That I'm not gonna say because then you'll try to attack me. And bark. and
Ooh,
get real
somber
hyper.
smithing stone 7. I think that's what you needed to level up your.
Glintstone, my staff? My staffy?
Yeah.
So next time we play, we gotta go to the round table.
Yep.
Okay.
So where are we actually trying to get to here?
Nowhere. We're good. We're done.
It says, yeah, it said take the spirit spring up, but I don't see one, so I don't.
Okay.
We'll go back to the site of grace and.
Yep. I
Call
just gotta
it?
get away from this weird toad animal
I mean,
thing.
that's not the way the site of grace is, but okay.
I was gonna try to use the map, but I was just trying to get away from the enemy, so it would let me go to map. There we go. A new map has been found. Okay.
Oh, there's the spirit spring.
Going to the
Ooh, there's
nameless
a
attacking.
cave.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff. We'll explore it next time. In 2 days, cause that's another stream day, you know. I'll try not to cancel. Okay, go rest here. And I'll go do my raidy. So go here. /raid. And then we gotta see Is Tessera Barra still streaming? Yeah.
Introducing new Aroxon Gel, the
Commercial.
first FDA.
Yep. Baldur's Gate still going. So we will do this. Sarah. With an H? Yes. 2 H's. Sarah with an H. Bear with an H. And then also I can put in my raid command. My raid button. So the top one is if you're subbed. So Benny could copy the top message if you're still around. Raid back into a channel you're already in. I do that all the time. And the second message is for non-subs. And yeah, I will try to stream on Monday. I'll do my best. And we'll see you then. Bye. Where's my end stream? There it is. Bye.